Hi, this is Art from Scrappy Mania, and today I'm going to create a painting. Now, Ginger Cook had a video that I saw today and that she created. It was called The Proposal, and she had a, a wall on one side. She had some lanterns. She had a tree. She had some flowers, and then she had a couple under an umbrella. And the background, it was like a rainy season. So I want to see if I can do that with watercolors. So I have these Jane Davenport watercolors. So I'm going to use this. I may have to pull out some other watercolors, but I'm not sure yet. Maybe I can stay with this limited palette that I have here and do that scene. So what she had was, she uses her fingers and sometimes a ruler to kind of know where to put the stuff. So I'm going to imitate a little bit how she did it. It's not going to be perfect because of course she had a bigger canvas. I have a smaller one, and I believe hers was square. Mine is a little, it's, you know, narrow and rectangle. So I am going to try to remember how she did it, and let's see what comes out. So I'm trying to remember how she did it, and I think one of my biggest mistakes, because I still didn't get exactly the angles that I wanted. They were a little off. I think my mistake was that I kept the orientation of this page within a portrait orientation. I should have just put it as a landscape, because of course this is a landscape, and Ginger had her canvas was actually square and was not at this crazy little angle, and I'm not skilled enough to understand or know how to do perspectives with different angles or shapes of paper. And I think I would have been more successful if I would have done this on landscape. But the more you do this kind of stuff, of course, this is an art journal, and that's the thing that I try to convey in all my videos. I'm not a famous artist. I have never gone to art school, but what I'm trying to convey to people out there is that you can draw. Just take any kind of book. It doesn't have to be a mixed media book. Now, I prefer the mixed media books because I can put wet medium on it, and I prefer watercolors because it's less messy. I do work with acrylics, but then you have the mess of having to clean all those acrylic. While with watercolors, as long as you have an extra tub of clear water, you really rinse out your brush and let them dry. And then I wash my watercolor brushes once a week with some fine soap made for watercolor brushes. So that's how I like it, and that's why I prefer watercolors. They're less messy. But I just trying to get people to just go out there and do like I do. Just take any kind of journal. I happen to have this kind of journal, and just play around with your watercolor. It really is very relaxing. Even if this page, now most of my artwork stays within my pages, and once I've completed a book, I put it on a shelf. But later on in the future, when I'm old, my kids may be pulling out these art journals and show their kids what their grandmother used to do. And maybe one of my grandchildren in the future will be famous artists like Ginger Cook or the Art Sherpa, or even like Lindsay, the frugal crafter. I mean, that would be awesome if they become, pretty well known and skilled enough like them. That would be fabulous. But it's just something that you want to do. It's very relaxing, and I just love it. And then I have this nice little brush. I bought this new watercolor brush. It's in a Skoda, and I think it's a Rigger brush. And I got it because by recommendation from Angela Fair. She also does watercolor art. It was pricey. I never buy a brush more than a couple of bucks. And this brush actually cost me $23 on Amazon. And I'll put the link to the brush. But I do like it. It comes to a nice point. So I splurged and got myself a pretty nice brush. And I'll make sure that this brush, I have it in an area where my kids cannot get to it, because you really don't want to use acrylic or have them damage this brush. So here, as you can see, I'm putting my my grass, and then I'm dabbing some color on the grass to give it some bright color to it. And then I'm just putting some shading on the pants with my black. And I've tried to limit my palette, and that's why I just pulled the Jane Davenport neutral color palette to do this. And I do like how this came out. Not too bad. And I was trying to put some, usually when you are using watercolor, if you want something to appear white, you do put some color to it, like blue, really light blue, and then it kind of seems to the eye that it's white. So that's why I went ahead and put a little bit of blue on the edges below my lanterns. Now I just felt like it needed to be outlined because things were just too soft for me. So I typically always go over with some black ink, and then I'm using some India ink and a calligraphy nib pen that I have. And this nib wasn't that expensive either. You can get this at Michael's, especially use your coupons. You can really get these nibs for very, very affordable. And see, once I outline my doll and my page, it really looks nice. To me, it looks nice. I can really see and make out the trees and the images, and it just pops. And then I'm just putting some lines on the ground like it's wet instead of using white, because I cannot use white like what Ginger used. So I decided to use black. So this is my interpretation of a drawing using watercolors. I'm going to go ahead and sign it. And then date it. Today is the 15th, 2017. So I hope you liked this video, and thank you for watching. Bye now.